Hey, this is a DCC adventure called The Haunting of Larvik Island, and it's got a pretty cool cover there with this big squidipede is what it's called, and it's written by Stephen Newton of Thick Skull Adventures, and it's for DCC RPG. It's a first level adventure, and this is a continuation from Attack of the Frogs, part of his trilogy that he's created. Um, this is obviously going to be for people who are. This video is going to be for people who are going to run it. So if you're going to play it, go do something else. So, the haunting of Larvik Island. Larvik was an ancient adventurer, and he hid a treasure on an island named after him. And the treasure is supposedly hidden there, but it's only accessible every 35 years due to it possibly being in these caves that you can only get to once this phenomena called Cybala's Rest happens. Cybala is a goddess of nature, and what happens is these caves, the waters recede from them, so they're then explorable. And that's when people go and try to possibly find this treasure that he's left. What can I say about this adventure is really the fact that it's 34 pages. It is a sandbox adventure, and I think it's got a lot of encounters in it. It's got a lot of combat, much more so than Attack of the Frogs did. And of course, that was a 0-level funnel. But this is a full-on first-level adventure, and it can possibly be played with, first or second-level characters. And it's going to take you, if you play anywhere from 3 to 4 hour sessions, if you're running this, it's going to take you, if the players are very thorough in the way they are, it's going to take you, I would say, anywhere from 2 to 3 sessions, maybe even more. It just really depends on your players. And it's also a neat island that can be fleshed out with more stuff of your own choosing, but it does have a lot in it already. And that's one of the first things you'll see, I think, whenever you flip through, is just the amount of combat, the amount of cool creatures that are in it, and the amount of encounters far surpasses, I think, many other adventures for DCC RPG, because I think it is a more, just a more thorough adventure. And the island is fun because it's not too big. Sometimes sandboxes can get way too big, and your players can really go off on things that have nothing to do with the story. But where I think that Stephen has really honed in on is all the encounters. I would say most of them, 95% of the encounters, I believe, they all kind of lead back or have some sort of explanation as to why they're there and how they link up with the main storyline or get your players back on the right track. Your players may see some bandits walking out in the woods while they're there on the island, and it doesn't just tell you, well, there's bandits walking out there. Well, no, it shows you that those bandits are part of this other bandit camp, and it kind of leads you to the bandit camp for you to then have your players hopefully will be like, well, where these bandits come from, and then you go to the bandit camp section, and now you've got that if they choose to follow where they came from. So it's neat that a lot of the stuff that the players will interact with are all part of the continuing story, and I enjoy that fact of it. I'm going to go ahead and say that my only real issue I have with the adventure, and it's just my own little kind of pet peeve I have, is I just wish that, it's more of a desire really, I just wish it had more art of the actual island. Maybe, it has some great maps in it. Jeffrey Tadlock has done a great job with the maps, but I just wanted kind of to see what the island looks like from an artistic standpoint. Like if you're on a boat and your players are coming close to the island, what does the island look like from a distance? What does some of the spots look like from a distance? And there is some really good art in here, and it does have that great kind of throwback feel to it from the D&D days. But I just wanted a couple more pieces of art of some of the landscape, and there are some, such as the petrel nest and some of the some of the cave sections. But yeah, some of those would have been nice to have just in general. The maps are available for miniatures as well, so that's neat. That's a neat feature that you can, instead of photocopying something out, you can download, go get the actual maps, and they're going to be on a miniature scale, so you can use some miniatures in this adventure. The adventure gives you a couple of hooks to get your players there, so that's enjoyable. I always like when adventure doesn't, if it knows that it might be difficult to get a player somewhere, to make them go travel, especially get on a boat and go to an island. It's going to have them, give you a couple options. You can use both or one of them or whatever you want to choose to get your players there. And It's kind of an assortment of creatures on the island, kind of staples that are there, wild goblins, some undead, and there's some bandits, and the bandits are there kind of on the same reason that the adventurers are as well, so that's kind of neat. And there's some things that might happen in the adventure that could possibly make it so that your players can't get back off the island. So that's neat for once you're done with it, how are you going to get back off? Something has happened to your boat, maybe. And so it's just very thorough in what it's trying to do. It's trying to explain the story of Larvik, and it's also trying to give your players a puzzle to figure out. Because as you'll read, you'll find out that Larvik had two caves. One is a false cave, does not contain his treasure, and the other one is the true cave that has his treasure in it. So, and the treasure, you'll find out, is kind of neat. It's not exactly what you're thinking of, but it does make you excited about maybe the third part of this series. You know, should you have enjoyed these first two. The ruins have got a lot of, they tell you a lot of more about the story once your players get there to the ruins. And you've got a western and an eastern side of the island, each of those with encounters that are very thorough. They give you great descriptions about what they are. They're just not, you see bandits, here's the bandit stat. It really is more of a description and then again tying back into the story. And I think that's great. There are traps in the ruins, there's traps on the island. It is a dangerous adventure, but it's not too, I don't think it's too terribly so. And since it isn't really in an extreme time frame, I believe that your players can have time to rest, to make camp, and if they've taken a bit of some hits, try out again the next day after resting over the night. It's got some neat creatures in it that really excited me when I read it. It has these huge seagulls called petrels that have a nest, and they kind of fly around the island, and they're massive. And they can be very deadly as well. And the thing I really like about that is it kind of takes me back to my enjoyment of the Sinbad movies from the old days. And these islands and these old places that have these large monsters. And kind of like the Rock, they have a rock in one of the Sinbad movies with its large nest. So it kind of reminded me of that, and I think I just enjoy that myself personally. So I particularly enjoy that addition to this adventure. Again, one thing I want to definitely say is that it starts off with a lot of, it's got your normal kind of rumors about the island, the townsfolk, the hooks to get you there, and then once you get there, your players are really going to have a lot of choices that they're going to have to make about where they're going to go on the island. Hopefully they'll find the clues. I'm certain they probably will. Many of them are they're very obvious. There's nothing I didn't find that would be like, well, if you don't find this one clue, you're screwed. There's many clues for your characters, for your players to figure out what the secret in finding the true cave is. And at the end of the adventure, once some stuff has happened plot-wise, once they're exploring this island, they're going to find out that there was an evil cleric about 100 years ago who tried to find this treasure, and he did pretty much all in his power to find it, including hiring, I should say, getting goblin slaves, and they're still there in a wild sort of form, as well as many of the undead that were used as well. So you're going to have undead, you're going to have a lot of creatures that are on this island, a lot of the goblins, and there's also bandits too. So there's a good variety, and then here and there's a couple of creatures that'll try to kill your characters, or a couple of traps that'll try to get rid of them too. The end of the adventure has, it's got actually kind of like two kind of main, what you want to call boss fights in it. And again, this is going to be against this evil cleric. He has kind of like his spirit that's left there, as well as his physical form, and both of them are undead. And one of them is going to be in the spirit form is going to be in the false cave, and then once they finally find the true cave, they think they found the treasure. They're going to see that they have to face the remnant of this evil cleric. There's some good treasure to be had all throughout this adventure, especially the end. I think the cleric's got a pretty neat weapon that the players can get. So there is treasure at the end of this adventure, and at the end it gives you some continuing. There's a paragraph about continuing on in this adventure. How do you get off the island maybe if you don't have a boat anymore? And so that's a neat aspect of it. You get a little bit more for it. There's a whole glossary about some of the terminology and some of the names of some of the people, as well as the goddess and stuff, kind of explaining to you at the end. And there's a write-up of some new diseases. There's a zombie disease I guess your players can get. And there's also some new magical items as well. And this is also going to have some throwback to Attack of the Frogs with the goddess Trulock, who was was worshipped by kind of the frog people from that adventure as well. So there's the kind of connection. And then at the very end, it's going to lead you on to his third adventure in this series. So really, my only real complaint is going to be about the art. I just wish that, I mean, like I said, I don't mind the art at all, and I just wanted more of it. I wanted more of the island, just pictures, you know, some art of kind of what the ruins look. The maps are great, but I just wanted to see some more artistic things about the island. But other than that, I think it's a real solid adventure. It's going to take you a while to get through it, possibly if you have some thorough players. But it's very free-form for you to be able to do what you need to get them through it. As well as I think you'll really enjoy the very thoroughness that he's done in describing each location, event, and the story. That's a big help in this adventure. Other than that, I think it's a great first level adventure for DCC or really any other, if you're a type of person who likes to take adventures and kind of make it your own for whatever game you're playing. I think it's fun. It's there's nothing in there that really stands out as being structurally flawed with it. I think it's a good adventure. It makes me wonder what the third one's going to be like. I think it's got a lot to live up to, so that should be fun to see. Because I think this adventure really brings it. And it's a very, again, thorough island sandbox adventure with a puzzle, with a good variety of creatures, detailed encounters, and overall I think it's going to be a fun time for your players. So yeah, that's The Haunting of Larvik Island. And I hope you liked the video, and I hope to have some more videos up from Stephen Newton in the future. And thanks a lot.